Right now on News 3 this morning, Saturday, 8 days and counting. The government shutdown continues this weekend. We'll tell you when lawmakers expect a spending bill to pass. Plus, get ready for some change. A new generation of alders are set to lead the city of Madison, why we're seeing significant turnover in our local government. And we're taking time to talk this morning about why it's so important for your kids to find confidence and how you can help empower them to do just that.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning, Saturday, 5 in the morning on December 29th. I'm Josh Breiter with meteorologist Chris Reese. Yeah, final days of 2018. Hard to believe it still.
It really is, and oddly enough, it finally seems like it should be for this time of the year.
Feels like winter.
Exactly. We have a new light snowpack out there. I mean, we are not talking about a lot. Out to the north and west, they certainly have several inches of snow on the ground, especially west of the Twin Cities. But here in Madison and really across all of south central Wisconsin, we have less than an inch of some snow on the ground this morning. Now, most roads, at least main roads, are doing fine, but a lot of those side roads are still snow covered. So keep that in mind. 21 degrees is our temperature. We are mostly cloudy. Will likely be mostly cloudy throughout the day. Winds coming out of the north at 8 miles per hour. These are actual air temperatures now. Where the snowpack is, it is much colder. Brainerd, Minnesota, the actual air temperature, negative 20 right now. They're 41 degrees colder.
Wow.
That's something to truly think about. Now, we are still tracking at least a little bit of light snow through the area, not amounting to much, but we still could see some flurries as we go throughout the day. Temperatures will gradually come up. With the cloud cover, it's going to be hard to truly get them to move. We're expecting to be at 23 by 9 a.m., 25 by lunchtime, and I do think we'll top out around 28. And again, I can't rule out the possibility for some flurries today. I do want to go ahead and show you guys the belt line. You see the snow on the side roads, but the belt line is wet, but in good shape.
You know, I've got some family in Brainerd, Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
They got like 13 inches of snow, so.
Well, you know what? Tell them to share next time.
Yeah, I wish. I wish. It's that time. We want some snow on that ground.
It really is.
All right, Chris, thank you. This morning, there's still no signs of ending the partial government shutdown, now heading into its 8th day. About 800,000 federal workers are either on furlough or working without pay. A new Democratic majority will take over the House next Thursday and plans to pass a government funding bill the same day. But the Republican-controlled Senate is unlikely to approve that bill, so the impasse is likely to remain. President Trump says he won't sign any deal without $5 billion worth of funding for a wall along the Mexico border. Last night, he threatened to take the unprecedented step of closing the border entirely if he doesn't get that money. A new Reuters poll shows the most Americans blame the GOP for the shutdown, with 47% blaming Trump compared to just 33% who blame congressional Democrats. As a byproduct of the government shutdown, members of the U.S. Coast Guard may not be getting their next paychecks. That's because the Coast Guard, unlike the other branches of the military, falls under the Department of Homeland Security, one of the agencies that, unlike the Department of Defense, is affected by the shutdown. Kayla Garcia lives in Door County. Her husband is in the Coast Guard. She says the prospect of not receiving a January 1st paycheck has been very stressful during the holidays.
If something isn't resolved with Congress and the White House, we actually will have a delay on those checks. And that's when I kind of started to panic, rearrange some finances. I thought about returning some of the Christmas gifts that were wrapped under my tree.
The Coast Guard has more than 40,000 members, none of whom would receive those paychecks on January 1st if the shutdown isn't resolved before the day is over. If you live in Madison, there's a pretty good chance the alder representing you on the Common Council is going to change next year. 8 alders in districts 2, 3, 7, 10, 12, 13, 15, and 20 are filing paperwork indicating they won't run again. That's almost half the council. One is running for mayor, some are moving, and some just decided it was their time to step down. We talked with the alder from District 13, Alan Arnston, who stepped in for Sarah Eskridge when she resigned. He said back then he wouldn't run again, so he's sticking to that. He said this will certainly bring some changes, especially with the potential for a new mayor.
It will be very interesting to see the new equilibrium the council sets. I mean, I think that if you're interested in city politics, the next year is going to be a pretty fascinating time.
This is an unusual amount of alders leaving at once. Over the past 5 years, the average has been closer to 4 or 5. Alder Arnson said it's just a coincidence. The deadline to file paperwork says you're not running for re-election has already passed, so we shouldn't see anyone else announcing they are not running again. News 3 is investigating this morning why a daycare on Madison's west side closed its doors abruptly. Documents show the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families revoked the license of Angel's Joy Learning Center last week. The department received a complaint saying a man with a felony conviction of murder was employed there and had contact with children. That employee was 44-year-old Tracy Ferguson, the brother of the center's director. Court records show he was convicted of murder and aggravated battery with a firearm in 1993 in Illinois. He was paroled in January of this year and started working at the daycare shortly after. State documents show Ferguson was paid off the books and did maintenance work while children were there. Angel's Joy sent us a statement saying in part, "We are aware that the closing of the center has affected many families. Please know we are doing everything possible in cooperation with licensing to rectify the situation. It is our goal to have our facility up and running as soon as possible." Meanwhile, new data is out showing more than half of Wisconsinites live in what's known as a child care desert. According to the Center of American Progress, that's an area with very few options for daycare providers. The Wisconsin Early Childhood Association says there are a few reasons for that. One, the average wage for a child care worker with an associate's degree is $10 an hour, and the majority don't get health care benefits or paid time off. Two, when unemployment is down like it is now, child care workers are more likely to take on higher paying opportunities. Because parents assume most of the cost of child care, there just isn't enough money in the industry to hang on to workers.
We hear stories of child care programs literally closing overnight and families left with no care for their kids, no ability to get to work the next day, all because it's incredibly hard right now to keep people in this field.
A shortage of daycare workers and options also means it's harder for parents to work and employers to hire those parents. The Wisconsin Early Childhood Association does offer the reward program, which gives qualified child care professionals a stipend. 5:07 right now was a big year for Airbnb in the state of Wisconsin. The company says the state hosts earned more than $41 million in 2018. Top counties for hosts included Milwaukee, Dane, Door, and Rock counties. Hotel managers say they've also seen growth, but with the change in options, they've had to adapt what they do to meet today's standards.
You think of when I started, you plugged in a hairdryer and a set of curlers, and now when a family checks in, everybody has their own device and possibly two. So you have to increase power, you have to increase Wi-Fi. You know, we're going to free breakfasts now that weren't offered in the past.
Officials say the hotel industry has also seen steady growth in recent years and that hotels still can offer things Airbnbs cannot. It is the first weekend for firefighters at Madison's newest station. After more than 5 years of planning and 10 months of construction, Fire Station 14 in Madison is now open. Fire officials say they'll now be able to respond to calls in this part of the city in 5 minutes or less. That's a big improvement over the 10 to 15 minutes it took before that day opened. While their request to add an ambulance to the station was denied in the 2019 budget, Assistant Chief Clay Christensen says the fire rigs do have EMS capabilities, and the Common Council did approve adding a paramedic on staff 24/7. The new station also features a sauna that will help prevent the spread of cancer-causing chemicals.
We call it a detoxification sauna. The Cancer Prevention Committee put that on as one of the things that we should be trying out. It's gaining a lot of momentum throughout the United States for firefighters. So this one will have the first one in the city.
This is now the largest fire station in the city, in part because it also doubles as a training facility for both new recruits and current firefighters. Most Wisconsin bankers are hesitant about hemp. That's according to a new survey from the Wisconsin Bankers Association showing 83% of its members say they will not actively help provide loans to hemp growers and processors. Most bankers say not enough is known about the hemp crop or the revenue that would come from farming it. A hemp grower tells News 3 banks are willing to give him loans for equipment and building structures, but not for the crop itself.
I hope that banks will realize the value of this crop and make it available for others to start farming it and give farmers the opportunity to increase their income for their families and save their farms in some instances.
The Bankers Association is encouraging farmers to provide as much information as possible if they do eventually decide to apply for loans. They should know their revenue expectations, revenue stream, and whether they have anything they could put up for collateral. Not much snow fell yesterday, and after a week full of rain and warmer temperatures, skiers and snowboarders are staying positive about this winter. There's still a decent turnout at Cascade Mountain, although business has been slower than normal for the week following Christmas. Managers there are hoping to see that soon change. Right now, skiers and riders are coasting on about 18 to 36 inches, but with colder weather on the horizon, they should be able to fire up the snowmaking machine or even get some from Mother Nature herself soon, and that's keeping them optimistic.
Obviously, weather in Wisconsin is always variable. You can't ever control it, but we just kind of take whatever they throw at us and take it in stride. We like to think that we have some of the best snowmaking in the area, and I think our customers would say the same.
Cascade says their best snow comes in January and February, so there's still a lot to look forward to. They say it's still too early to tell whether the slow start will hurt their bottom line. We want to take time to talk this morning about how difficult it can be for your kids to not figure out who they are, but to also be confident about who they are. Dr. Nick Hallett is a pediatrician with SSM Health who says he can tell when one of his patients isn't embracing the awesome person they are because it can have real effects on kids' mental health.
Doing something you don't want to do and are not necessarily really willing to do is very stressful. So focusing on yourself, learning about yourself, what you're good at, what you find entertaining, what makes you feel good, definitely makes yourself in general more happy. It's not always easy to figure these things out.
Dr. Hallett encourages parents to try something new with their kids as they try to figure out what makes them special and unique. We're talking all about the power of being you over on our Time for Kids Time to Talk page, and we want to see how you're doing it. Go to channel3000.com for more on that effort and advice to help all of us be our best selves. 5:12 this morning. We've certainly seen it all weather-wise this week. Here's a live look outside. There's the Capitol this Saturday morning. Just a little bit of fresh snow on top of all of that rain we got, so expect some slick spots out there if you're headed out this morning. Chris is tracking the full forecast straight ahead. And the Packers are out of playoff contention, but they still have a chance to make this lackluster season one of the record books. We'll explain when News 3 This Morning Saturday continues.
Well, with snow on the ground, it is a sign that winter surely has returned to us in south central Wisconsin. But it's not just us, it's really across the country as a whole. That's where we find a 91-degree temperature difference across the country. We're at 75 in Miami, 91 degrees colder. It is -16 in International Falls right now. That's where the core of the cold air is sitting, just over the upper Midwest. Here in Madison, we're seeing temperatures that are 25 degrees colder than just 24 hours ago, 33 degrees colder as you work your way up towards Brainerd, Minnesota. But around the area of south central Wisconsin, in general, we find temperatures anywhere from about 15 towards 30 degrees colder than 24 hours ago. So you are certainly going to notice that as you step out this morning. 21 is our temperature in Madison. We do also have a lot of cloud cover around. It's going to work to keep us cooler as we go throughout the day, combined with winds out of the north at 8 miles per hour. It's also making for a little bit of a wind chill around here. It feels like 11 right now, feeling like 9 as you work your way up towards Wautoma, Manitowoc, right along the lakeshore. It feels like 3 cold degrees. And we are still tracking at least a few snow flurries around the area. And we'll see if more snow flurries as we go throughout the day, though it should not be as robust as what we saw throughout the day on yesterday. In fact, taking you hour by hour, we're keeping that cloud cover around. Temperatures near 23 as we get you towards 9 o'clock, 25 by lunchtime, and then here we are near 28 into the afternoon. And again, you're seeing the possibility of at least some flurries around. It shouldn't, again, amount to much at all. But the cloud cover clears out tonight, temperatures falling back towards 21. Notice those winds coming out of the south and west. It's going to help things stay warmer for your Sunday, already in the 30s by tomorrow morning. 36 as we head into your Sunday afternoon. Notice the cloud cover increasing to the north and the south as we head into your Monday. Those are two different systems we are watching. One model keeps them split, but still brings some light snow around here in the form of flurries headed into your new year. The other model still keeps them split, but brings one farther to the north that would indicate the potential for a heavier snow as we head into the new year. So we're going to still keep a close watch on those. Nonetheless, what we are sure of is that as we head into 2019, that cold air pours into the country, and we're going to see some days that actually struggle to get out of the teens for highs. We're talking 21 degrees on New Year's Day, 19 degrees as we head into January 2nd. On the bright side, those days do look sunny and dry, though some flurries are, of course, always possible. But the moral of the story is we're finally getting temperatures that are seasonable for this time of the year, right around average to below average or just above, depending on which day of the forecast you're looking at, Josh.
Oh boy, a 2 on that forecast.
There was a 2 on that forecast, and if we put snow on the ground, it could be even colder.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Anytime.
The Packers host the Detroit Lions at Lambeau tomorrow. While both teams are eliminated from playoff contention, here's something to watch. It could end up being a record-breaking day for receiver Davante Adams. He's 2 catches away from breaking the team's record for most catches in a season and 134 yards from the record for most yards in a season. Kickoff is set for noon on Sunday. 5:19 is your time this morning. Some of the biggest names in music are lining up to show some RESPECT to the Queen of Soul after months after her death. And there are several shows and movies for you to enjoy. Will's in next with 3 things to watch on this cold holiday weekend. Thanks for watching News 3 This Morning, Saturday. Welcome back at 5:22. In entertainment news this morning, more than 4 months after her death, there's a new push to honor the Queen of Soul. Superstars are signing on to show some respect for the late Aretha Franklin. Celine Dion, Jennifer Hudson, and John Legend are among the singers scheduled to perform on January 13th in Los Angeles. The concert will be held at the Shrine Auditorium and will be recorded and replayed right here on CBS later in the year. We are just 3 days away from the start of the new year, and some big names are in the Big Apple this year to ring in 2019. Sting and Christina Aguilera are among the performers taking the stage in Times Square. This year, the theme is A Gift of Harmony, so the famous Waterford crystal ball has been adorned with even more crystals to reflect that idea. More than 1 billion people around the world are expected to watch the ball drop. After a warmer than usual end to the shortened work week, the cold air has returned and it's planning to stick around for a while. So if you're planning to stay inside, our Will Loper has you covered with 3 things to watch this weekend.
Michael, how are you?
I found something really interesting.
The whole housing market is propped up on these bad loans. They will fail. The housing market is rock solid.
Adam McKay's newest film, Vice, is in theaters this weekend, but make sure to check out his best work to date, 2015's The Big Short.
It's a time bomb.
Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Christian Bale, and many more star in the true story of how the 2007 financial collapse occurred in a film that will entertain you as much as it infuriates you.
All the banks were having a big old party. A few outsiders saw what no one else could. The whole world economy might collapse.
I'm sure the world's banks have more incentives than greed.
You're wrong.
The Big Short, available to rent or buy everywhere now.
You have any idea what you just did? You just bet against the American economy.
Keep having these vivid dreams, like thinking weird things.
Newly streaming on Netflix is the film Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
We're gonna be a hit factory, like Motown, but for computer games. You heard it here first.
The programmer begins to question reality when he adapts a fantasy novel into a video game.
You're not hearing voices or...
No voices, but there is something.
Bandersnatch was the final straw.
Black Mirror Bandersnatch is available to stream on Netflix now.
It's the biggest night of my career. All these people have come from all over the world tonight just to be here.
Don't just dump them. Float them in the wind. It should be magical.
And celebrate New Year's Eve with what other movie but the one called New Year's Eve.
It's a time when hopeless can be romantic, and a resolution can become a revelation.
That looks like a long list. You better get on it.
If you can make these resolutions come true by midnight, you get these.
4 tickets to that party? You called the right guy.
Gary Marshall directs the star-studded film with intertwining stories.
Here we go.
Get your noisemakers ready.
Let's do it. Is it New Year's Eve?
We've got to do something to get you out of your New Year's Eve funk. We could have our own party.
You went out for a slice of pizza, and you may have run into the one.
Who are you gonna kiss at midnight?
I mean, you know what that is?
Insanity?
No, serendipity.
The countdown begins.
New Year's Eve is available to rent or buy everywhere now.
The first baby delivered in the new year. It's 25 grand.
Oh, it's on. Let's go, honey. Nobody wins when pregnant women fight.
Happy watching. Those are the 3 things you need to watch. And this is Will Loper for News 3 this morning, Saturday.
The new year brings another milestone for a musical legend. January 8th would have been Elvis Presley's 84th birthday. His Memphis estate, Graceland, will use the occasion for an auction where the King's clothes and jewelry will be on the block. Fans can participate on site or online. 5:27 this morning, still to come, a check of today's top stories, plus a preview of the world-famous team visiting Madison today. And proof that positivity can get you through anything. When diagnosed with a rare and aggressive form of brain cancer, a local mother leans not on just her family or friends, but her entire community. Keep watching News 3 This Morning, Saturday. Strength in numbers. When a local woman fell on hard times, it wasn't just her own family and friends stepping in to help, but her entire community. We have a special Do Something Good story to get your morning started.
This is News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning and welcome back to News 3 This Morning, Saturday, 5:31 on this December 29th. I'm Josh Breiter. Meteorologist Chris Reese is tracking the forecast heading into the new year in just a moment. But first, here's what's making news this morning. It is day 8 of the government shutdown, and a new Reuters poll shows most Americans are blaming the GOP for the impasse. 47% of people are pointing the finger at President Trump compared to 33% who blame congressional Democrats. The shutdown is expected to last until at least next Thursday when a new Democratic majority takes over the House. But even if those new leaders pass a government funding bill, it's unlikely to be approved by the Republican-controlled Senate. President Trump continues to demand $5 billion for a border wall with Mexico. Most Wisconsin bankers are hesitant about hemp. At least that's what we're learning from a new survey released this week. The Wisconsin Bankers Association reports 83% of its members say they will not actively help provide loans to hemp growers and processors. Most bankers say not enough is known about the hemp crop or the revenue that would come from farming it. The Bankers Association is encouraging farmers to provide as much information as possible if they do eventually decide to apply for loans. Skiers and snowboarders are staying optimistic that the season will give them enough to enjoy. There's still been a decent turnout at Cascade Mountain, although business has been slower than normal for the week following Christmas. Managers there are hoping to see that change soon. Right now, skiers and riders are coasting on about 18 to 36 inches, but with colder weather on the horizon, they should be able to fire up the snowmaking machine or even get some from Mother Nature herself soon. Cascade said their best snow comes in January and February, so there's still a lot to look forward to there. If you're looking for something to do with the family this weekend, the world-famous Harlem Globetrotters are back in town today. They'll be stopping at the Alliant Energy Center as part of their latest world tour. The Globetrotters return to Madison as the holders of a bunch of new Guinness World Records, including the most blindfolded dunks in a minute and most behind-the-back three-pointers in a minute. Chris Reese is here with your forecast. I don't know if Chris can handle all that Globetrotter fun, but he can't handle the weather. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, that's right. We are looking at a little bit of snow this morning on the patio and some beautiful snow at that. That has made for a little bit of a snowpack across south central Wisconsin. It's not amounting to a lot at all. Heavier snows are out to the north. This is where your snow depth is at least a couple inches, several inches as you get towards the north and west of the Twin Cities. But the snow that's on the ground today won't really be going anywhere unless you salt it. That's just because temperatures are well below freezing at 21 degrees right now, and we have a lot of cloud cover, so that's not really going to allow the sun to melt a lot of snow as it likes to do. Temperatures are 11 at Stevens Point right now. Brainerd, Minnesota, the winner at -20 for the actual air temperature right now. Now, we are seeing just a little bit of flurries in the area, not amounting to a lot, but don't be surprised if you still see at least a few falling snowflakes out there as we go through the rest of the morning. By 9 o'clock, we'll see those temperatures approaching 23, 25 as we head towards lunchtime, eventually topping out around 28 today. And again, I can't rule out at least the possibility of a few snow showers and flurries. Now, in terms of road conditions, I do know that a lot of your side roads and neighborhood roads, those are going to be snow covered with a layer of sleet underneath, so take it easy on those. Main roads such as the Beltline, those are in good shape. They are a little bit wet, but they're doing good, in good shape this morning. Josh?
It takes a team to do this. This is not one person, it's not 5 people. It's literally the team of family and friends who have been so supportive.
There's something to be said about strength in numbers. Our Charlotte DeLeste is here with a special Do Something Good story this morning.
When a friend or family member falls on hard times, you want to help, but sometimes you just don't know how. That's what's happening right now to a young lady in Fort Atkinson. But instead of just her immediate circle of loved ones helping her, the entire community has come together to do something really good.
Drop them in the bucket. We also have raffles going here and all the way down this line.
It's a busy day at Busy Barns.
$2 a ticket. Your best deal is to give them a $20 bill. And
Hundreds of people, try 700, packed this Fort Atkinson business on a Sunday morning.
The crowd is absolutely phenomenal.
Even Santa and Mrs. Claus were there to see the kids, and the Grinch showed up too, but not for the pancakes.
She's just a really special person.
Everyone is here for Leslie.
Like I said, this isn't all about money. I'd love to say that we're going to make enough to make a difference, so to speak, but it isn't all about money, and I can't stress that enough. It really is about support.
It's really hard. I like to help people in a pinch, or being the one that's just offering help, and it's hard to take it.
Leslie found out this summer she has brain cancer.
They call it the AA, but it's angioplasty astrocytoma, something to that effect.
It's rare and it's aggressive.
They've wanted to know if I want to know the years, and I said no. I don't think anyone wants it to know, like, there's a timer, but I don't know.
The 33-year-old is choosing to stay positive through it all for one reason.
And I don't want my daughter to see me, negative. I don't want her to be negative about it.
This is Rylan. She's 7 and the love of Leslie's life.
She knows that I have cancer, and I've told her that I've got to take medicine that might make me sick, and that I might lose some hair, and I have to go to the doctor every day, but I'll be coming home every night. And that's basically because I don't want to give her too much of the what ifs.
So life for the single mom in Rylan goes on as normal as possible. And that means the Christmas tree is up and they spend time playing with Rylan's babies.
This one name is Charlotte.
Rylan has been blessed with the gift of gab and giggles, and she's quick to share her love of Disney World, where she'd like to go back with her mom someday.
Leslie, are you mad at all? I was. Sometimes, but I think I pray every day that I get to see Rylan grow up and have kids, but no one's guaranteed that, so I don't think that there's a right to be mad because of that. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody, so I don't think it's fair to be mad about it. It's just, it is what it is, so.
Through all this, Leslie's perspective on life has become more clear. She's learned of all the friends, family, and complete strangers who care about her, the importance of slowing down and showing gratitude before it's too late.
Very thankful, and I always feel like I have been, but I'm more so now, or making sure that people who are important to me know that they're important versus just assuming that they know.
She's especially grateful for special moments like this.
Sometimes in the morning I go in her bed and then we snuggle. Mostly it's too late.
But on this morning, Leslie is given the best medicine possible, unwavering support from a very busy barn filled with people who proudly call themselves Team Leslie.
I want her to see how many people love her, respect her, and find her to be just an amazing woman and mother.
A team determined to support Leslie every step of the way so she can see the dream in her heart come true.
I would want to live to be a grandma. Yeah.
Thank you, Team Leslie, for doing something good. Rylan is not watching this story, and she has very limited information. So if you know Rylan or your kids know her, please be mindful and protective of what you do now know. And Leslie, I know for a fact that your team is getting even bigger now. We've got you. If you know of someone, a business or organization doing something good, please let me know. Send a nomination at channel3000.com/do-something-good.
Thank you, Charlotte. Time right now is 5:40 this morning. Looking for something to do this weekend? Well, we've got some ideas for you and the family. Plus, one holiday has come and gone, but another is right around the corner. We're breaking down the top New Year's Eve parties perfect for families and adults only too. Your Weekend 608 is coming right up on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Good morning. We do have mostly cloudy skies out there. The temperature right now, 21 degrees, and we're going to keep that cloud cover around as well. Now, there is at least a possibility of some flurries today. In fact, we've been tracking some of those flurries across the area this morning. Most of that to our north, but nonetheless, don't be surprised if you see a few additional snowflakes flying out there. It shouldn't amount to much at all. Temperature-wise, we'll go from 21 to about 25 as we go through the morning. It'll be breezy as well, with winds out of the northwest at 6 to 12 miles per hour. By the afternoon, we may see a few peaks of sun, actually. Temperatures, though, should top out right around 28 degrees. Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. Workers in New York City are busy installing the 192 new sparkling triangles made of Waterford crystals ahead of Monday night. They will adorn this year's Times Square New Year's Eve ball. The annual event marking the countdown to the new year is watched around the world as the ball, measuring 12 feet in diameter and weighing almost 12,000 pounds, is lowered. This year's theme is the gift of harmony. The sphere is covered with more than 2,500 Waterford crystal pieces.
On the Madison area.
Now that Christmas is come and gone, we are looking at a relatively quiet weekend, so let's turn our attention to New Year's Eve. Of course, the Monona Terrace Community and Convention Center is hosting its annual Madison Family Eve from 4 to 7:30 Monday night. So if you have, or if the kids can't or shouldn't stay up until midnight to welcome in 2019, take them early to the terrace to see magicians and jugglers and join in with the Wild Rumpus Circus, all before the big 7:30 balloon drop. Parents then have time to get home, tuck in their children, and still enjoy New Year's Eve as adults.
And so where should adults go for New Year's Eve? The fanciest, priciest, and probably hardest to get into last minute are the parties at the Concourse and Edgewater hotels. Our sister publication, Madison Magazine, is suggesting the Great Gatsby New Year's Eve event at the Sylvie, the music venue that opened earlier this year. Attendees to the Sylvie's 20s themed party are encouraged to dress the part. Starting at 7 p.m., there will be vintage cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, and performances by the Four Seasons Theater Troupe, and playing swinging jazz classics, Darren Sturridge and Madison Hot 8.
And one final New Year's destination, Winterfest at Robinia Courtyard on East Washington Avenue. Sounds like the place to be, and a bit more affordable too. Bands will play all night on 3 stages. There will be Latin and jazz bands from groups Blanca and Golpe Tierra to the John Christensen Jazz Trio to 5 DJs taking turns spinning discs. The ticket price includes the music, drinks, and oysters bar, champagne for the midnight toast, and for those who stay, an early morning French fry bar. For more New Year's Eve party ideas and other events happening in and around the area, be sure to get this month's Madison Magazine for all of the best in the Madison area. Well, after a mild week, we're waking up to kind of a frozen morning here in southern Wisconsin.
That's right, Josh. It is certainly cold. Here's a live look over the Capitol right now. You can't see all the snow on the ground, but I'll have a look at your forecast through the New Year's holiday coming up next.
But first, happy birthday to Hazel and all of the other kiddos turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with us on News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Well, what a temperature spread we are waking up to across the country this morning. It is 75 degrees all the way in Miami. Meanwhile, negative 16 as you work your way up towards International Falls. Folks, that is a 91-degree temperature difference across the country. And a lot of that cold is over the west and expanding towards the central part of the country. We've experienced that here in Wisconsin. Green Bay, 31 degrees colder than 24 hours ago. We're 15 degrees colder right now in Madison. You go down to Monroe, they're 22 degrees colder, 25 degrees colder as you work your way up towards the Dells, and that snow on the ground is going to help keep things a little bit colder today. The temperature right now, 21 degrees, winds out of the north at 8 miles per hour, and that's going to work in a little bit of a wind chill factor as well. It feels like 11 right now in town. Janesville, one of the warmer spots where the winds are a little bit more relaxed, so it feels closer to the actual air temperature there. 9 in Watoma. That is the wind chill. We're still tracking at least a few flurries out there, mainly to our north. It's the northeast and the northwest, but don't be surprised if you see a few additional snowflakes flying today, though it should not amount too much at all. In fact, taking you hour by hour, we'll be at 23 by 9 o'clock, 25 by lunchtime. You'll see at least the radar try to light up with a few isolated spots that could send some of those snowflakes flying. We'll top out around 28 degrees as we head into the afternoon. Now tonight, the cloud cover moves away. We drop to 21. We don't get as cold because winds are going to be coming out of the south and west. That's going to allow for a warmer Sunday as a whole, 30 degrees by 11:30, topping out at 36. Pay attention to what happens as we head into Monday, though. You see the cloud cover increasing in the north and the south. What's happening is we are between two systems, one to the north and one to the south. Both have the potential to at least throw some snowflakes our way. Now, the GFS is farther towards the south and east with that, though it throws some snow our way headed into the new year. The European model is farther to the north, and it shows some heavier snow, but still keeps the two systems separate. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Nonetheless, we are going to be seeing the colder air moving in just in time for 2019 to begin. That, my friends, is a day where temperatures are going to be struggling to get out of the teens for highs. Tuesday and Wednesday, we are talking 21 and 19 degrees. So it is certainly going to be on the chillier side of the spectrum. There's also a 2 on that forecast, and if we put any snow on the ground, that too could be too warm. So we are going to watch that very closely, Josh.
All right, Chris, thank you. Well, we have been asking you to share your morning with us, and check out this photo Sherry Riken sent us. That is beautiful. Look at the sunrise there.
That is like so beautiful. The sunrises here are amazing.
Especially this time of the year with a little bit of snow on there, too.
It really does. And then the ice crystals just, I could talk all day.
Gotta love it. All right, well, thank you so much for sharing. Sherry, what does your morning look like? Take a picture and post it to the Channel 3000 Facebook page or on Twitter using the hashtag MyNews3Morning, and that's how we're able to pick out our favorites and air them right here on the program. 5:53 right now. There's a full hour of real news ahead at 8. Then tomorrow morning, we're bringing in some local chefs for healthy and not so healthy ideas for getting your new year started off on both the right and delicious foot. That's from tomorrow, 6:30 to 8 o'clock. But first, News 3 This Morning Saturday will return in a moment. 5:57 this morning and a little colder than what we're used to.
It is much colder out there, Josh. Temperatures right now at 21 degrees. We will not be getting out of the 20s today at all. So take it or leave it. Enjoy the winter-like feel out there. We are a little bit warmer for your Sunday. Temperatures will be milder into the upper 30s, mid-30s on Monday with a chance of snow right as we ring in 2019. We are getting much colder in the first couple days of the new year. Your pet walk, Lady B, is chasing the squirrels down in Edgerton. Hopefully she can get some snow to play around with as well.
I hope so too.
Yeah, it's about time. January and February, they're upon us.
All right, thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 8 for more News 3 This Morning, Saturday.
Making plans that are weather dependent? Get an accurate 12-hour, even a 10-day forecast. Download the Channel 3000 First Alert Weather app and start planning.